Welcome. Today we will be talking about pressing the opponent, pursuing them in their own final third when their back four and keeper are trying to possess the ball, connect short to mid-range passes, and we're trying to take it from them and go straight on to the counter. I'm making this video for people I coach with, people I work with, players, teammates, really just to get my ideas out there, further them, and build upon them. Admittedly, my own understanding of this has progressed a lot over the last few years. This is even the second video that I've made on it, because after recording the first one, I was able to think about it a lot more and grow the ideas further. So here we are with the second attempt. In this video, it will be long and it will be in detail. We're going in deep. It's the kind of thing that's out there as a resource for you to go back and look at again and again, maybe jumping to a specific part of the video. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope it furthers your own understanding, some ideas, some of the concepts behind it. And also you can bring questions to the table. Ask me questions about this. Challenge some of the ideas, because that's how the ideas grow. So, what are the big concepts behind pressing the ball? The first one is diagonal lines. Let's talk about that. Boom. Here we are in a rondo, 4v2. Basically, the 4v2 diamond, that's kind of the staple of possession for most teams. This is what they look for. And right now, the two players in blue, they're playing flat, completely horizontal. So, the guy on the ball, it's pretty easy for him to judge the weight of his pass and, boom, hit the through ball, the split pass, what's called the third line pass, kind of the best thing for the offense if they can split and move down the field like that. So that would be doing it wrong. So how can the defense make it more difficult to hit that pass? Well, they can get on a diagonal line to the ball. And it doesn't matter if the diagonal line is angled that way, or we could flip it, angled this way. It doesn't matter. Now, that through pass, the split pass, third line pass, is harder to hit, because as the ball travels, two guys can, boom, boom, make a play on the ball. So in all of our different shapes that we're about to see on the full field, you'll hopefully see these diagonal lines constantly at play. And obviously, in this rondo, more would be going on. He would also be trying to play around these two guys, boom, boom, as we see there, playing around. That's like a second line pass. And these blue guys, they would be stepping on the ball and putting pressure on that guy. So let's talk about that. How to step to the guy on the ball. The idea is we want to make curved runs when pressing the ball. And the reason we do this is because we're trying to leave guys in what's called the cover shadow. So let's take a look at those things. So say one of these guys wants to put pressure on the ball. Say it's 11. If he runs straight at the guy with the ball, the player on the ball, he can pass in both directions, left or right. He could easily, boom, sneak that ball through, and then we're definitely broken. They're going to play around for the second line pass here. So it's a pretty simple idea how to do it right. Rather than a straight line, he's going to curve his run as he approaches the player with the ball. Why do this? Well, it leaves the guy behind him in what we call the cover shadow, where now, number 6, the guy on the ball, he can't really play to that wide player in the rondo anymore. So in all of our different situations we're about to see, the guys pressing the ball, they have to be curving their runs to leave specific players in a cover shadow. So going to the big field, the full 11v11 game, let's talk about the specific numbers and counting them, what's going on in the numbers game when you're trying to press. Boom. Okay, let's get rid of those lines. So here we are. The red team is building from the back, kind of from like a goal kick. The blue team's on defense. They look like they're in a 4-1-4-1. Okay, let's take a look at the blue team's top defensive line, number 2 here, 4, 5, and 3. The main concept on your back line is you want to be +1. You always want one more defensive guy than there are offensive guys. This is just like a staple in all levels of soccer. This has to happen. So if they have a 3-striker formation like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, which are very popular now, we need one more guy. We need 4 guys on the back line. Now, that leaves us, if we have 4 guys on the back line with just 6 other guys, 6 other blue guys below them. And the red team, they have 7 offensive players free behind this back line. So it's kind of a 6v7 for the red team. And if you include the keeper, really it's a 6v8. So how can we win a 6v8 when we're pressing them, kind of playing man-on-man with everyone? Well, we got to leave 2 guys open if it's a 6v8. And we just want to be smart about the 2 guys we leave open. Pretty much, if the ball is on one side of the field with a center back or an outside back, it doesn't matter. The guys we're going to be leaving open will be the guys on the right side of the field. So I'm just going to randomly here just start dragging blue guys, unorganized, to all these different red guys. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. Now it's 6v6 on the left side of the field, and we've left 2 guys wide open. We've left open the right outside back, and we've left open the right cam seen here. We're leaving these guys open because there's no angle on the ground if we're pressing them correctly to really hit a ball all the way there. And the aerial ball that goes the entire width of the field is pretty difficult to hit under pressure and put it perfectly right on that guy's foot. Even if they do hit it, the defense still has a lot of time to shift over and recover a little bit backwards on the diagonal. Especially on the grassroots high school level, players like an outside back is not going to hit a ball to the other outside back, put it right on his foot, traveling in the air the entire width of the field. It's a pretty difficult ball. So we're kind of safe leaving these 2 guys open if everyone is moving at once. And that's something you'll see in all of these different pressing schemes, is that every player has a job. Everyone has to be moving. If one guy messes up, isn't in the right spot, doesn't know what to do, or is just being lazy, like the whole thing breaks down. And this very aggressive defensive strategy becomes a huge liability, because you'll notice there's going to be a lot of space in your own half of the field for offensive guys to exploit, for them to hit balls into and run on the counter and just give you all kinds of problems. So everyone has to be moving at once to win this. And you might say, well, not all teams play 4-3-3. What about 4-4-2? It's the same concepts that apply. If they have 2 strikers, we only need 3 guys on our back line. Thus, we got 7 free guys, and they got 9 free guys. So it's no longer a 6v8. Now it's a 7v9, and they got 2 free guys, and we're going to try to leave them open on the wide side of the field. Okay. So let's talk about the shape of the back 4, because that's very important, and how difficult your job is going to be when you're pressurizing the other team. Let's reset. Okay. Now, a lot of teams at the grassroots or high school level, they will play what I call a narrow back 4, kind of seen right here, where all 4 defenders are basically on the same line. And often the keeper will, boom, just hit a ball from the goal kick straight to an outside back. If this is what they're doing, it's very, very easy for the defensive team to do their job, put a lot of good pressure on the ball, and make it really difficult on the offense. So let's take a look how. So we'll start with our winger, number 7, curving his run as he approaches number 2 and taking the pass down the line to their winger off the menu. Now, obviously, I move the guy after I move the ball, but he's traveling as the ball is traveling. So I just like to say now, I'm only going to be moving one thing at a time in this tactics app right here. But for all of these pressing schemes, we want everyone moving as the ball travels to get the timing right. So he's going to curve his run here and try to force the ball back across his own goal. A little bit dangerous. So What the off-ball defenders do is critical in all of these situations. And here, they're just going to make a diagonal line. So we move over with our cam, boom, boom, boom. And there it is, the diagonal line. We can also shift over the DCM, the entire back four. Even the keeper can shift over for a big ball over the top. So there it is. So you see that nice diagonal line, boom, as we see there. It's very difficult for 2 now. He doesn't have a lot of options. If he tries to hit a pass to this DC him here, it's a dangerous pass because we have a lot of guys. We have 3 guys that boom, 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 can make a play on that ball. So that's a super dangerous pass. It's really hard for him to go the entire width of the field and put the ball to the other outside back's foot. And the pass back to either center back or the goalie is basically guarded by our one striker. Let's say maybe ideally he's in a position kind of right here maybe, where he could compete for all 3 of these passes. This is why you don't want to get in this shape if you're trying to possess as a team. Right now, this center back is in the cover shadow of this other center back. No ball on the ground can get to him because it already hits that guy. Also, the keeper is almost like, look how narrow that pass is to the keeper. Our striker could easily compete to that ball to the keeper and get a free tap-in goal. So there's just not a lot of good options for the team here. So what will good teams do? What kind of shape will they go into? I'm going to call this a more modern shape for a back four, a modern back four. Notice now our center backs, they've gotten real wide. They are deep into the half space. And our outside backs, they've pushed real far up the field here. They're almost to the half line. They're past the DCM. The offense, the red team, is basically in like a 2-3-2-3 shape, or a WW shape, if you will. And this is kind of just the best shape to spread the field out symmetrically and as much as possible, as much as geometrically possible, to get as much space as you can between all your guys. And so you'll see teams this is the default setting for when they have time, like from a goal kick or when the ball goes back to the keeper in open play, and they have time to shift into this if they're really trying to keep the ball. Now it's not so easy. Now our striker, he's going to have a hard time guarding these 3 guys in the back because now they're all on different angles, different levels. So you can't so easily leave multiple guys in the cover shadow. So what are our strategies going to be to press the ball if the team is doing it correctly? Well, I have them all right here in our different systems. And they're basically, the concept behind all of them is how they differently try to beat the 4v2 diamond. What am I talking about, the 4v2 diamond? We saw a 4v2 diamond. Whoops. We saw a 4v2 diamond right here, where the red team is basically in a diamond, and this is a 4v2. This occurs on the field in that shape that we just saw. Let's take a look here. Let's say the center back has played the ball. Okay. Here is the 4v2. I'll try to draw the diamond. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. There's the 4v2 diamond, and even if another blue guy is stepping near it, it's a 4v3. It's still a numbers advantage for the red team. So they're trying to exploit this. They're trying to play through this diamond and get the ball in our half of the field. And so the different pressing strategies are created to win defensively this diamond situation. So let's talk about how they do that. And we'll talk with the one that's kind of my favorite, and that would be the 4-2-3-1. Okay, so boop. Let's get rid of that. 4-2-3-1 means we're going to have 2 DCMs. So number 8 goes back there. And let's get everybody in the right shape. So what is the strategy that the 4-2-3-1 is going to do? Well, it's going to try to make the offensive team hit a trap pass, a pass where we know where it's going. All of our players are kind of on the level, and we're going to try to steal this pass because we know it's about to happen. They don't. They just think it's the best option available. There are some risks involved with this formation. it is pretty narrow, so your striker, if he gets played around, if they can go center back to center back, even using the keeper as a wall pass, you're in trouble because they just played around most of your formation. I do like it, though. The nice, safe thing about it is there are 2 DCMs, and that's nice because a lot of teams at the high school grassroots level, they just play long all the time. They just play kickball, kick it as far as they can. It can be an effective strategy. But with 2 DCMs, there's a lot of cover for your back 4. If they get pulled out of shape, we have guys that can fill in and guard the dangerous space in front of the goal centrally. Okay, so let's talk about 4-2-3-1. How are you going to press? Make them hit the trap pass. So if the ball's played to a center back, as we've seen here, the striker has to start by curving his run. Curving his run to number 4, leaving the other center back in the cover shadow. Now, this is where a lot of the risk is involved because if he's played around here, boom, boom, using the keeper as a wall pass, we're in trouble. Everyone else has already shifted, and now they have a lot of space on the left side of the field here. So this guy cannot let this happen. Little details I'll tell you. If number 4 is facing the keeper, number 9 cannot run at him. He can just hover kind of in between center backs where he could step on that pass to the keeper. Then as number 4 changes the angle of his body, starts to face forward, puts the ball, boop, on his outside foot. Now number 9 is kind of safe to more aggressively get close to this guy. He's not trying to win the ball. He's mostly just trying to spook this dude and make him hit a pass. All right, what about our winger? Well, we want our winger, pretty simple job here. We just want him to play off the shoulder of their outside back. There it is. Just take away that pass. We can't leave that guy open. What a lot of teams do, and this is just terrible, is the winger will also come down here and press number 4. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Because isn't he leaving the outside back in the cover shadow? He is. The problem is no one can possibly get to the outside back on our team very quickly. So if number 4 uses an inside-out concept, goes boom, boom, one-touch pass from the DCM, now we're the press is already broken, and they're already playing offense in our final third. He could take a dribble this outside back, maybe play the ball up to the winger, just a straight pass. Our defense kind of has to shift out of alignment. He continues his run, lays the pass off, plays the space, boom, third man run. They're already in a dangerous situation. So we want to not let that happen. That would be real bad for us. Okay, so how do we do this correctly? Put the winger back over there. Get the ball back on the center back here. It's pretty simple. We just want our winger just to stick on the shoulder of this guy and take the pass away. All right, now our cam, we want to kind of drift towards the ball and just make sure he achieves a diagonal line with our winger here. We don't want the guys to be flat, where the center back can hit an easy ball through them. We want him to be diagonal, where the pass through them is harder to judge the weight, and it makes their center back kind of just have to hit the pass a lot harder and not be super precise with it. Ideally, this guy will also make sure he so if he's starting here behind the DCM, he wants to kind of curve the run and put the DCM in his cover shadow. And that's a really super important detail. The cam, he basically sits on top of the one DCM, and he's trying to just cancel him away and leave that guy in the cover shadow. So the pass that's kind of easy to see right here is, scoot that over a little bit, this pass, this alley that we see right here, kind of the half space. We want him to try to play the ball to his cam in the half space here. Just hit this pass. Why do we want it to? Because, boom, our DCM is ready to step onto that ball and just take it clean on the dribble right onto the counter. The DCM is kind of hidden. He can play in front of the cam, but kind of behind all these other guys in the traffic, so it's hard to see him coming. And then, boom, it's an easy pass. On we go to the offensive phase. He can play the ball to our cam, draw this guy out. Almost we have a 1v1 situation easy in front of the goal here. So that's playing the trap pass down the alley that your DCM can take. The striker has got to be careful to cut the pass between center backs. But this is nice that you do have 2 DCMs in this formation. Okay, what next? Next is 4-3-3. The strategy we're trying to do here is we're trying to bait a pass to the sideline. We're trying to squeeze the team to the sideline in general, and maybe achieve a defensive 2v1 on the sideline. So this is 4-3-3. You also could be playing like a 4-4-2 diamond, and basically this is pressing the same way from that. So the pros is that it's nice 1v1s are easier to guard when they're closer to the sideline, and you get that 2v1, which is real nice. The con is that it's kind of hard to get into this shape because it's so different than your offensive shape. So let's take a look at that 4-3-3. Boop. Okay, let's set it back. All right, here we are. So when I say pressing in a 4-3-3, I'm not just saying that your 2 wingers just immediately stand right next to and cancel the pass from the goal kick or the keeper's foot straight into these guys. Because here, they're not going to play short. They're just going to, boom, play long into this space here where we don't have anyone. It's a 3-VO there. It's super dangerous for us. So we want to at least bait them. We want to make it somewhat enticing for them to play short, get the ball out of the keeper's feet. So we're not going to line up like this. Instead, we're going to line up a little bit like this with 2 flat lines of 3. Whoops. Here we are. 4-3-3. Like I was saying, it's kind of an unnatural shape. If there's a goal kick, you have time to get into this formation. A lot of teams, professional teams I see, like Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. This is definitely Liverpool's thing that they've made famous. They just get into this from the goal kick because it really puts a lot of pressure on the other team. It's a more aggressive way to press. Like I said, this DCM, if he's playing right off the 18, well, we can just get on him quick. If he's kind of playing more back, our striker can come back kind of like a false 9 and guard him here. So you can see this is what I meant when I said it's basically the same shape as the 4-4-2 diamond. So what's going to happen here? Okay, boom, boom. So the ball is played to the center back, and our winger, he's going to press the ball. Not like this, not straight. He's going to curve inside out. He's going to curve inside out and push that guy right towards the sideline. If the center back tries to take him on a speed dribble, then they're going straight to the sideline, and defending that is pretty easy for our winger, who's hopefully a faster guy than their center back. It's kind of obvious. We're just trying to get them to hit a pass here. Hit this pass to their outside back. Now, as this ball is traveling, our midfield block of 3, they're moving. They're shifting fast as they can. Kind of as the ball is to the center back, hopefully they've shifted a little bit, and that's why the pass straight to the cam is kind of out of question because they've already shifted over some. So he hits the ball to the outside back here. They continue to shift, and our midfielder is already on the ball, and we can kind of get a diagonal line with those guys behind him. Now, this is pretty weird because, one of your central midfielders is going to be asked to go all the way to the sideline. So if you win the ball back, he's not in his normal position. But it's really nice here. We're guarding a guy really close to the sideline. If he tries to turn with the ball, that's a very difficult 1v1 for him to win. He does not have a lot of space on the ball. Obviously, our back line could already be shifted over by a lot. I'm not really going to mess with them in a lot of these formations, but they're just kind of auto-shifting in all of them. Also, what's nice is the winger, after the pass is hit, he can continue to press the ball. You know, if you think you're watching Liverpool and you see like Salah or Mane press the ball like from behind, this reverse pressing, this is what's going on. And notice they're about to achieve a defensive 2v1. So if that outside back on the ball, if he hesitates, you know, has to turn because number 10's coming in, he thinks I'll just play back to the center back. Boom! He's met with this 2v1 here. And the idea of a defensive 2v1 is you can get real aggressive with two guys, basically try to mug this dude and try to win the ball, not just poke it out of bounds for a throw-in, but have one of your guys cleanly come away with the ball on a dribble or a pass in possession. Now, you know, they might go back to their center back, putting it in just like the far corner of the field, and this is just very difficult for them to do anything in this far corner. They are really screwed and in trouble if you can put them into that corner there. So that's the 4-3-3, the sideline squeeze, making the 1v1 easier to defend, using the sideline as the extra defender. That's something a lot of pro coaches say. And also maybe getting that defensive 2v1. It is a little trickier to get in that 4-3-3 shape from open play, especially if you just lost the ball and you're transitioning. A transition occurs and you're going offense to defense. So you might have a different formation. You might be in 4-1-4-1 in the mid block, and then if you have time, your wingers can come up. You can kind of get in that 4-3-3 shape. Now, I'm going to take a step back here, and I'm going to go back to the rondo. So I said all of these different systems are a different way to solve this rondo. So what's going on here? How are we solving? And here, I'll even put the diamond. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the diamond for this rondo. Well, basically, what's going on here is we have our striker, and he's kind of just auto-cut this pass to the DCM. Okay, so there's one guy in the rondo, and he's kind of already cut that pass. Now we have our striker entering the rondo like this, right? We have our midfielders shifting up there in the rondo kind of like this. So that pass that we're baiting him to hit on the sideline, you can see it's very, very tempting. It kind of looks like a line 2 pass, like, oh, maybe we can play around them. But then as the pass is hit, now this guy is pressing the ball, leaving 11 in the cover shadow, right, which another midfielder can hopefully shift and take him away. Then we're reverse pressing on the ball, leaving that guy in the cover shadow. So it's 4v4 in the rondo now. We've baited him kind of in like the worst pass they can hit, and you see the 2v1 there. Let's look at this exact same thing just real quick on the big field. Go away. Okay, get in the shape. 4-3-3. Very quickly. All right, you guys, real quick. Show me that diamond. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so what's going on? The ball is played. Here I see the striker has already kind of cut the DCM. Our winger is curving the run, putting pressure here. Our midfield is shifting over, blocking the pass to the cam. That pass is hit. Boom. Coming up, reverse press, coming down. Both guys left in the cover shadow. Super important here. We can shift into the rondo with the other midfielder, and they are trapped now 4v4 in this rondo, which is no longer good for them. So that's kind of the strategy, the little sideline squeeze that works there. You know, thinking back to the 4-2-3-1, it basically dares them to hit the third line split pass of the rondo. It tries to dare them to hit the pass right down the middle of the rondo. It's trying to dare them to hit that pass because we have a third guy entering the rondo here that is trying to, boom, step across and take that pass. So that's what's going on in the diamond in the 4-2-3-1. Okay, what else we got? What's next? We got the 4-1-4-1. Now, this would be the most aggressive way to press, at least that I'd be comfortable doing. There are other ways that are more aggressive, but to me they're kind of like crazy. You don't even really see them at the pro level. So this is 4-1-4-1, and we can go to the concept level first. Let's look straight at the diamond. Let's look straight at the rondo. Okay, and let's get the ball down to this guy. What's going on in the rondo here? Well, we're trying to take away that guy's pass. We're trying to take away that pass. And we want a third guy basically to press the ball, boom, straight down the middle of this rondo, where you can't split because number 11 is being clearly left in the cover shadow. We're coming straight down on the ball, and both the passes to the wide guys are kind of difficult to hit. You know, even if you're trying just to hit a line one pass that goes just straight through, this is difficult because we can compete from the ball here. So there's just not a lot of good options. Let's see how it looks on the big field. All right, perfectly. Set up in 4-1-4-1. This is how a lot of pro teams press that I see. Like I've seen Barcelona do this. Chelsea does this. Man City. This is all how they prefer to press the ball, at least in open play. So different ways to do it. A common one is the ball is played out here. Maybe the striker can curve the run to this guy, really just allowing them to play back to the keeper and then play to the other center back. And that's what triggers the press. So who's going to step to the center back? We know it ain't going to be the winger. Never, please, never do that, guys. Instead, it's going to be the near side cam now. So as the ball is traveling to 5, our cam is trying to travel and press him straight down there. And you can see in those other formations where you're really curving the run, now this guy, he can kind of press straight down the field. Our winger has shifted over, real simple, shoulder to shoulder to cancel out this guy. The other cam has hopefully shifted over as the ball is traveling. You know, we have 2 passes, boop, boop, to make this happen. And then the near side cam, he can just come straight down, curve the run, and now he can just vertically, boom, put pressure straight on this guy. This is a more aggressive way to press because you have to get the timing right when you come straight down. Why? If the timing is wrong, like look right here. If he pressed him from right here when he already has the ball, now the center back, he can go left or right with the ball. He can kind of put a little fake move on the ball, take a big touch, kind of get out here in some space and kind of look and switch the field. But if we get the timing right, and as, you know, this pass is hit, you know, this guy's moving, and as this pass is hit, he's moving, and just right when he gets the ball, boom, he's right in his face. He's right there with nothing to do. Then it works. This vertical style of pressing, I would say it's like a very obvious style of pressing. It's what a lot of teams just do. They just run straight down the field at the guy, and they'll do it wrong. They'll allow the guy to turn and have that extra touch on the ball where he can play to the left, to the right, and maybe not everyone else is shifting and marking up, and those passers are there. But if you get the timing right and you're just coming straight down the field, there is no good pass for this guy to hit. The passes back are difficult because our other striker, he could have just curved the run, chased down the keeper, and he could just be playing, cutting these 2 passes already. And you kind of just press him, blast, straight down and put a lot of pressure on the ball, really freak this guy out. He might make a bad touch, do something crazy, just kick the ball out of bounds, who knows. Now, a downside of this is that the timing is more difficult. It's less forgiving to give right. And also, you only have 1 DCM back here. Check this guy out. So if this center back is able just to, boom, play big, or maybe the keeper is good and he sneaks over so he can one touch and boom, he's a left-footed keeper somehow. He plays big over the top. Look, in our half, we're basically playing 5v5. We're no longer +1. And these over-the-top balls, you know, you see in the pros, pro defenders handle these balls no problem. The defenders have an advantage in that they're facing an aerial ball coming in where the defender's kind of running with his back to the ball as it's coming over his shoulder. So it's easier for these defenders to win the headers on these big aerial balls, and they often do that. Or if the balls are played into this space, the defenders have a little bit of a head start on the run, and good pro defenders, they can clean up those aerial balls. Often they can play, like a ball is played here, and a right back might just go left foot, one touch, boom, put it right on the keeper. A good back four can transition into their possession shape very quickly without a lot of touches, and really spread out. And that's what lets them keep the ball. That's why pro teams love it when the other team just plays long. It doesn't work so well because their defenders, good teams, they can very quickly use their numeric advantage and their positioning advantage that's just naturally inherent in this spot and this shape of the field and keep the ball. At the high school level, it's a little bit more dangerous. One missed touch can mess everything up. So it's nice to have extra guys back there in case someone does take a bad touch. All right, what are the final options here for pressing? I put some on here. 4-4-2 and 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, whatever. That one, I just said no. Like, don't do it. I've never seen anyone press like this. You're basically leaving your back line 3v3 with their strikers, and you're putting all 7 of your other guys up. It's just like the most aggressive thing you can do, playing 7v8 instead of 6v8 and leaving your back line 3v3. So the 5-3-2 all-out suicide press, not really viable. It's something you could go to with like 5 minutes left in the game if you're wanting just like to really pursue that goal, if you're just going all out for that and you're willing to play 3v3. If you got 3 awesome athletes, studs, that you can leave in the back, defenders that have a lot of speed and height and control, and you feel they can win 1v1s no problem. If you have 3 Virgil van Dijk clones on the back, hey, maybe that's an option for you. But normally we want to be +1. What about 4-4-2? This gets a little more complicated. It's funny. It used to be everybody played 4-4-2. And it's funny, I think it's the hardest formation to play because it's the most flexible. You can do a lot of different stuff from 4-4-2, but the inherent downside is there's only 3 defensive lines. Let's take a look. Okay, boom, boom, fresh start. And now I'm going to bring back those 2 guys, put up 2 strikers. Here we are in kind of the 4-4-2. And we can even do it like that. Now, the danger is you only have 3 lines. So it's risky. You easily can get stretched out and have the other team have space between your lines. 4-4-2 is more a formation you truly go into at the mid-block, where you let the team go short from the goal kick and you kind of wait for them, and your 2 strikers maybe engage the 2. So you give them these pass, you wait for them to come up the field, and your 2 strikers try to now engage the 2 center backs 2v2 here at the mid of the field. Why? Because now all your defensive guys are closer together. The space between the lines vertically is not as much, and there's not as a chance for the outside backs to really get up the field and get away from your wingers or strikers here. So this is kind of where you use 4-4-2, and we're not really talking about pressing from the mid-block. You could make it work from a deep, all-out press. Let's take a look. How would I theoretically do this, even though I don't see most teams doing this? How would you do it logically? Okay, boom, boom. Well, let's see here. You'll notice that there is a straight pass just right through to number 6, the DCM. So if they played 2 wide, boom, this is just going to happen. Now, if you say, okay, we'll just bring up maybe one of these guys before the pass is hit, and we'll try it like that. Well, now you're no longer in 4-4-2. You're really in like a 4-4-2 diamond, which I said basically now the press you can do is kind of the sideline squeeze press, And I think it even works a little bit less because the pass to number 3 here is a little bit less enticing to hit because your outside mid is already closer to him. And the center back here, he just might go long with the ball, and you're not really able to trap him as well as from the 2 lines of 4-3-3, the 2 lines of 3. So, could you press here? Let's put him back in a true 4-4-2. You could if your 2 strikers start off kind of narrow. Whoops. And as the pass is hit, one of the strikers presses on this diagonal and leaves the DCM here in his cover shadow as our other striker goes down to guard the center back or keeper pass. Now your winger cancels out the outside back, and we're playing 2v2 with those center mids versus center mids. So you could press this guy. Just pressing him 1v1, there's not a lot of options for them. And you've taken out the dangerous guy in the diamond in the rondo by leaving him in your cover shadow. Now, this is pretty dangerous because you're leaving number 6 wide open in the middle of the field. If 3 here is able to, maybe explosive, separate a little bit from the winger, and he's able to, on the half turn, play one touch, boom, and get the ball to the DCM. Now they broke your press, and they're coming right down the middle of the field for free. So in general, you don't want to leave the DCM wide open. If we put our other striker on him, then boom, boom, this happens all day. So 4-4-2, it's difficult to do correctly. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do if a team is maybe pressing or trying to possess with a narrow back 4, because then you have 4 guys that can just vertically come down and press the 4 guys. But I think that's a little bit overkill. You don't need 4 guys to press a narrow back 4, and you can leave some more defensive center mids in the middle for loose balls or attempted through balls. Okay, so those are kind of the big strategies for all the major formations I can think of. Please let me know. You can make a comment, or you can just talk to me directly if you think there are other options. If there are big concepts I've left out, if some of my concepts you think are fundamentally flawed or maybe just a little bit off, or you have a small suggestion or an idea, yeah, let me hear it for sure. My final thoughts on this video is, I also suggest you can go back, watch it many times, go to an individual part and watch that. You could also use this video to think about, how do I beat the press if I'm trying to be the other team and possess the ball? If I'm trying to win that diamond in the rondo against the 4v2 or the 4v3, how can I beat the press? How can I look out for a team doing it wrong? If they line up in 4-1-4-1 and their winger always presses your center back, they're doing it wrong, and you can pretty easily win the 4v2 and exploit that. Also, I want to emphasize, this is not mid-block pressing that I showed briefly from the 4-4-2. There are other ways to press the ball. You can park the bus, and you can press from the deep block. Not really press, really wait for them. You can go 4-4-2 at the mid-block or play 4-1-4-1 there. Try to draw them a little close, maybe draw them into a tight defensive unit, or try to spring 2v2 with 2 strikers versus 2 center backs. At the high school level, try to bait a long pass back to the keeper and have a guy explode onto that. Those are all options from the mid-block, but we don't really get into that in this video. And also, there are alternate setups, alternate shapes to try to possess from a deep block that are kind of counters to all these ideas. Like, real quick, going back to our starting shape here, and say that, so you're pressing in like a 4-3-3. One counter is, okay, rather than one pivot, one DCM that we see right here, boom, we can pull another midfielder down here, right? We can bring these guys much, 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 much lower, kind of drag down our outside backs, have a cam in here, maybe have a winger invert. Now we have kind of a diamond on both sides. Boom, 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 boom. So we have a diamond on both sides here. So this is bringing back an extra defensive pivot. Now we have double diamond going on, and the kind of scary 3v3 on the back line is not as much because now we have 5 red guys back there against their initial wave of 3. So there's one option. There are other creative things you can do as well. You could, let's see, when playing here, you could have maybe one of your cams sneak down here in between the outside back and the center back, just to add another number in that rondo. So if the winger is playing here, we've pressed here, well, like, boom, now we have an open pass. If this guy's going to step here, now he's left the outside back open. If there's any way we can get the ball, bang, 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 to this outside back, now we're on. So there's kind of sneaky things you can do, counters for this. And then the next level would be, okay, what are the counters for the counters